I watched this video and I just started crying and I just curled up into a ball. I honestly just could not believe what I was seeing. Just another black person being murdered in broad daylight and no one knowing how to help. Not knowing how you can intervene because there is someone who is in a position of power, someone who is in a uniform, and nothing that you can do. This is not the first, and I pray it is the last, but I don't know. There are so many things about this case in particular which are just crazy. I mean, if you ever denied that racism was a thing, if you ever denied that police brutality was a thing, if you ever denied that black people were being murdered on the streets.
It's black and white. It is on video, it's recorded, and the issues, even in the way that it's reported in the news, just are so much deeper. People aren't talking about this very much, but the reason the police were called is because the man bought some groceries with a suspected fake $20 bill. I mean, that in itself, the fact that someone thought the best course of action when someone has possibly paid with a fake note is to call the police rather than ask the person. He was on his way back to the car. There are so many fake notes in circulation. There are fake coins in circulation. You and I could have them right now. Just by paying one doesn't immediately make you a criminal, and it doesn't make George a criminal just because he was black. You know?
But it did.
But it did.
At the end of the day, it was the fact that his skin colour and he was in the unfortunate position of carrying an allegedly fake note. I mean, no one has even come to light to say that fake? It was an actual fake note. The guy was outside. Why did the shopkeeper not talk to him and say, hey, is this a fake note? Like, what's going on? But you assume that because
he's black,
he's a black man, he must be problematic. And then, then the police come, and the police say he was resisting arrest.
Which he clearly wasn't. The camera's black and white. He was not doing that.
I just think, again, if you ever thought that all black people deserve to die and they brought it on themselves and they were cop killers and they were the ones that, you know, were bringing this shit on themselves, then this is evidence on camera in black and white that police lie. They lie over and over and over and over again, and it's only because someone had a camera that we were able to see it. How about all those people that haven't had cameras? All those deaths that were let go because a police officer said he was resisting arrest.
Or even before that, there's the person with the dog in the park, and this white woman who was walking her dog without a leash, calling the police because a black man asked her to put her dog on the leash. And she, again, video footage of her hysterical for no reason on the phone to the police. And this sort of stuff, these phone recordings to 911 of hysterical people talking about threats from African American men or from anyone, they are used as evidence to get someone convicted. And it was only because there's video evidence that nothing was going on that it could be proven that this is useless.
But think about all the people.
How many people right now, or how many people over all the years in the past, have been arrested, convicted because of similar situations of people effectively crying wolf on the phone with no video evidence, you know? And this sort of thing is permeated through our whole society. And I mean, I think it's particularly different, which we can't understand the American situation, which is obviously extremely different to anywhere else. But it's just madness. And these examples of racism are just permeating everything, and it is just undeniable.
So now we have it. Another person dead. And we still don't know how we can be good citizens and step in when someone of power is abusing their power. How we can be like, yo, can you stop?
Yeah. Exactly.
Where your word means less because of the colour of your skin, when you are accused of being a criminal. If that had been a white man in a suit with an alleged fraudulent note,
nothing would have happened. They would have said nothing.
they would have been like, "Oh, sorry, sir. I think this is a bit of I think this is a fake note. Can you please give us another note and take this to the police, to the station, to the bank?"
The police wouldn't have been called, and then if they were called, the first thing they wouldn't do is go right up to his car and restrain him. I mean,
there's just so many things that are wrong.
Yeah.
With this, and it's undeniable that it is about the colour of the skin, and we live in a society where we should be equal, but we're not. We are treated differently because of the colours of our skin, the bodies that we inhabit. But for me, as a woman in the UK, there's also certain things that I can never understand. I can never understand the American system. I think the racism that breeds there is insane. It is so much. I cannot. So I can't understand that. But what I can see is when something is right and when it's wrong, and that was wrong.
Yeah. You don't have to be black to appreciate it is wrong. You know, I can't, as a white man, understand in any capacity the injustice and the way that black people feel and what they experience on a day-to-day basis. I understand that I live in a world which is naturally privileged towards me as a man that I am, but I can see clearly that this is wrong, and that is enough to do something. So if you're wondering what you can do right now, you can start to be more self-critical, more self-aware of these unconscious biases that you might have in your head, or even conscious biases. You need to understand that this racism is so ingrained in society and in us that you might not even realise it, and you need to be open to feeling uncomfortable about having these thoughts or doing these things, and accepting that it is an issue and it's something that needs to change and that you can change. So whether that's you're a person working in a shop and someone hands you a counterfeit note, if that's a black person, before you jump and call the police, ask yourself, is this how I would react if this man was a white man in a suit? Check yourself. It's of course true that there's no inherent deficiencies between any two people, but the world that we live in, there is inequality, and it's for that reason right now that the Black Lives Matter movement is so important. And if you're white or if you're not black, you need to appreciate that Black Lives Matter, and we need to focus on that, because it's not that, and saying that doesn't mean that other lives don't matter. It's got nothing to do with that.
Just appreciate the context. Right now, your house isn't on fire, but Black lives, there's so much hatred, systematic hatred that is on there, that we need to focus on it now. Black lives do matter, and we need to focus on restoring the equality and equilibrium across the world so that we can have an equal society for all.
We need to put out the house that's on fire.
Other practical things that you can do. Sign petitions. We've got a few petitions that we're going to put in the link below.
If you hear racism, call it out. Even if there's no one there to get offended, there's an opportunity to educate, to change there, even if there's no one there to get offended.
Also, donate to these charities. Donate to charities that actually do want to make change. And let people know about these injustices. Tell people how they can help as well. I know that with solidarity and with love and with unity, we will get out of this. And if it needs a bit of anger, then we will get out of it. Because something is changing. People can't hide behind what they say anymore. So we need to keep calling out when something is racist. We need to keep calling out when something is unjust. We need to keep calling out when something is unfair. But we also need to remember that we are strong people. And that we are not victims, but we are survivors. If you can survive all this mental enslavement, mental slavery, being put down, being made to feel weak and insignificant, and you can come and you can rise and you can fight for yourself and you can come out, then you are strong. Like, we are strong together. Not just black people, but when we work together, when you are an ally as a white man helping black people, and as black people, like, when we are allies together, then we can make the world a better place. It's just sharing it.